So today I figured I'd do this top 20 Halloween movies list with the accompaniment of a recording of some rain and some thunder. I hope it's relaxing to you, and I hope you can enjoy the list. So, I should, as a disclaimer, just say that this list is not taken from anywhere. It's not necessarily my personal list, although I do have some opinions which may have gotten into the list, may have moved movies around, but generally I try to pick movies that are considered well liked as Halloween movies. And of course, I'd love to hear what your favorite Halloween movie is this time of year, and maybe I can, suggest some movies for you. So, cuddle up under your warmest blanket, get a nice cup of tea, maybe grab a bag of candy, or put on another Halloween movie as you watch this. Whatever works best for you. I do have a candle lit, so maybe if you have a nice fall scented candle, you can light that up as well. Let's begin with number 20. So at number 20 we have Carrie. And this is I should put the year, I think it's 1978. Something like that. And this is the only movie on the list I believe that I've never seen, so I can't really give too much insight into what the movie is like. I do know it has something to do with telepathy, and I know she goes to prom and gets covered in blood, and then, scary stuff happens, but I've never seen it. I know there is a newer version as well. It came out, I think, maybe a few years ago now. And I might maybe watch it before the end of October. I'm recording this and we're coming up on mid-October, so we're getting close to the holiday. It stars Sissy Spacek, who I've seen her before, but when looking for pictures, she was a lot more beautiful than I kind of thought. Yeah, I'll have to check it out, and if you've seen Carrie, let me know how you feel about it, but I know it's a good one for Halloween. It's Stephen King, so you can't go wrong usually with Stephen King. Sometimes you can, but most times he's got some really good storytelling. I think Stephen King's biggest drawback is he does have a difficult time wrapping up some stories. Some of the endings are not great. I think it has a notoriously bad ending, in my opinion, and this is in the book. So, but the ending of The Shining is great. I haven't read the book though, and I know the book is very different from the movie. And I've heard the ending to Carrie is very crazy, so let's move on to 19. And this is Halloween, the 2007 version, which was directed by Rob Zombie. And I saw this when it came out. I wasn't expecting much from it. And I think I saw it, I might have seen either the day before Halloween or on Halloween, I don't remember. But I was, delightfully surprised as good as the original. It is very gritty and, pretty scary. It's very Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie has kind of this very dark and dirty type of style. He also has another movie, House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, which are very dark and kind of grimy movies, and I think it shows in this version of Halloween. I never saw, I know there's a second Halloween, and then there's been even another one that has come out since, but I haven't seen any of those, and honestly, I think you don't need to. You just, stick with the original story. Michael Myers. That is number 19. Now we have number 18, which is Paranormal Activity. And this is a movie that I really enjoyed. I believe I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters. I think I saw it when it came out on DVD. And it was kind of the reimagining of the, mockumentary horror film. Similar to the Blair Witch Project. In many ways, it mirrors the Blair Witch Project, especially in the marketing campaign, kind of selling it as real footage whatsoever. I do think it has a very distinct moral. I won't really spoil it if you haven't seen it. But I think there's a point to it, and it is about well, okay, I guess I'll say this. There's a bit of a spoiler coming up. All right, so if you want to watch this movie and you don't want me to spoil it, then pause it, skip ahead, go to 16, whatever. All right, so the spoiler is the movie is about parenthood in my mind, and kind of how scary being a parent is, and the idea that, you know, your child is precious and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. And this kind of takes it to the extreme where if something bad did happen to your child, you know, what would you do? And that's what I got out of the movie, at least, by watching it. And it was sad, especially the ending. The ending was extremely sad. There's this one part in particular is kind of the climax of the movie. And I just felt so bad for the father, like kind of the main character. Even though he does stupid things throughout the entire movie, the ending is just so sad. So, the spoilers are now over. My verdict on the movie is it's very scary, it's creepy, it's dark, it has an insane ending, shocking ending, and I think you should watch it. It's very scary. I would put it higher on the list after watching it, but I don't think it deserves to be any higher, because we have lots more movies to discuss. But that's Pet Sematary. At 16, we have one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I grew up in the 90s, and Casper came out in 1995. And I love this movie. It's cute, it is cool, it has really interesting set designs. The story is way more interesting than you might expect from a movie like this, and it just is really well done. And honestly, it's a movie that you could watch any time of the year. You don't even have to watch it at Halloween. And it's, you know, honestly, it's not that scary, but there are moments in it which can be scary, especially if you're a young kid. But it's very moody. It's kind of dark. It's also very old-fashioned. There's a lot of old-fashioned type scenes in there, you know, where they're in this old house and they're using these old mechanical things, these old inventions. And yeah, it's kind of a difficult thing to describe if you haven't seen the movie before, but I think it's a really good movie. And I think I rewatched it maybe a few years ago when I was older, and it does have some pretty bad humor, like ridiculously bad humor. And if you take that humor out of it, you get like a pretty solid movie, honestly. But the humor is meant for kids, and it's meant for kids in the 90s. It doesn't hold up very well. The humor, yeah, it's very, very dated, I'd say. But still a good movie, good one to watch with the kids. Number 15 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I honestly don't like this movie at all, and so this is why this list is not my list. It is the list that I think made the most sense. As Witch Project, the infamous, almost original horror mockumentary. And this was an interesting movie in a lot of ways. I didn't see it when it came out, but it wasn't too long after it came out that I did see it. I was too young to go see it. But I do remember the buzz around this movie and how people were frightened of it, and it wasn't one that you wanted to go alone into the theater to watch. And I will say the first time that I saw it, I was genuinely frightened by it. And it's simple, there's not much to it, but that's what makes it scary. It's eerie. It's also kind of about, testing friendship, and, kind of, it's like a survival movie as well, and, yeah, there's just so many cool things that they do in this movie, and it's, like, a pile of rocks, but they turn a pile of rocks into something that's genuinely frightening, and, there's a lot of criticism about the movie that it's really not that scary, and, it's not a jump out scare type of movie, but it is one if you put yourself in the mood to watch it, and you kind of let yourself just enjoy the movie. It's terrifying, and, obviously the infamous ending with the guy standing in the corner, which mirrors a story that is told earlier in the movie, or is foreshadowed. But one thing that I did want to talk about with this movie is when it came out, the whole marketing campaign was, it's real. This is something that we found, and they would, they had a website that they would put images on, and people could go and try to, it was like very cryptic, and people didn't understand, they were trying to figure out what the pictures meant and stuff, and that was basically the beginning of viral internet, just viral things on the internet, because before that, the internet existed, but it wasn't big. This movie kind of made the internet really big, because everyone was interested in it, in the movie. So, very interesting period of time. And it was also, it came out right before the millennium as well, so, I don't know. Yeah, it's a great movie. I really like it. And there's been many sequels and remakes since, there are a couple, so. Next we have Halloweentown. Now some people watching this may not have any idea what Halloweentown is. I realized this when, once again, we're doing this Halloween type of game at work. And, we did like this bingo trivia, and one of the questions was about Halloweentown, and almost everyone who I work with didn't even know what Halloweentown was. So, if you don't know what Halloweentown is, it was a Disney movie, made-for-TV movie, that came out, I believe, late 90s, early 2000s, and it was for kids. It's a family movie, and it is one of the most fun movies to watch as a kid at Halloween. It's just pure Halloween. The mood of it is awesome. It kind of hits all the, classic Halloween tropes. You get to see all these cool Halloween costumes and monsters, and they're witches. It's really awesome. I haven't seen it in years, but yeah, if you have kids, if you have any younger kids who can kind of handle, a few scary-ish scenes, I would recommend just watching this movie with them, because it's really good. It's just fun. It's a fun movie. So, and there were a couple sequels which came out after as well. So yeah, Halloweentown is at 13. did see it when it came out, as did everyone else. It was pretty popular, and I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it. It was a movie that did a lot of cool things, and it did a lot of things right, but in the end it did just boil down into another kind of run-of-the-mill jump scare type of horror movie, which, I don't mind, like The Conjuring and movies like that, but you have all these horror movies that come out and they're all just jump scares. Anytime something scary happens, there's this loud burst of music, and a loud noise, and something jumps out and then goes away, and it's just predictable and it's cheap, And this movie had a lot of that, just jump scares, and so besides that, it was really well done. I think the kids in the movie are great. I think all the child actors are really, really good in the movie. I think Pennywise himself wasn't amazing. He was scary, but he's not really what I imagined Pennywise looking like, honestly. He is very otherworldly, which I think they do well. But, I mean, say what you want about the made-for-TV movie from the 90s. That movie was bad. It was really bad, but I remember watching that movie. Again, I was probably a teenager when I watched it. I just remember that the first scene, or one of the early scenes when, Georgie goes to the sewage drain, and then Tim Curry pops up for some reason, that was way scarier to me than the scene in this movie. A lot of it is also the special effects for some reason, and that were not very good in this movie. In that scene. But yeah, again, I liked it. I thought it was good, but a little too kind of run-of-the-mill jump scary. And the second part was kind of more of the same of that. I did like, Bill Hader in it. I thought he was great, and I thought that was that character was probably the most interesting part of the whole movie. But it was really long and really drawn out, and the story was super weak. So I didn't like the second one as much as the first. But yeah, it's still it's a pretty crazy Stephen King story as well. Probably one of his, more insane ones. Alright, that's number 12. Number 11 is Ghostbusters. Just a really great classic movie. The only thing is, I don't think it's a Halloween movie, really. It has ghosts and it's scary in some moments, and it's a comedy, but I don't see it as something I would want to watch during Halloween, really. But it's really funny. The humor in it is great. And the special effects are bad, but they look cool. They're kind of like stylized in a way that still look kind of cool, even though they're kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I love Ghostbusters. I really like Ghostbusters 2 as well. There were scenes in Ghostbusters 2, well, and in Ghostbusters as well, that I remember because I watched both movies when I was fairly young, and they just really frightened me. In particular, in the first Ghostbusters, when Sigourney Weaver, whatever her character is, when she opens the fridge and then Gozer is in there, that scene was just too much for me when I was a kid. That was frightening. Or it's Zool. Zool is it's either Gozer or Zool, one of the two. That scene really scared me in the first movie. In the second movie, there's another scene, and risk on, because it can come off as ridiculous and just like really weird, but it works. It's fun. It's good for like the family as well. So overall, it's like a perfect kind of horror comedy. It's pretty perfect. All right, now we are on to the top 10. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far, and I hope the rain noises are nice as well. Number 10 is Beetlejuice, and this is a Tim Burton movie, and it is like the most Tim Burton movie ever. And it's just really great. It's funny, it's creepy, it's strange, it's just way out there and imaginative, and Michael Keaton is, such a good actor in it. And this is another movie that, it's a dark black comedy, but again, there are scenes in here in this movie that are really scary, especially if you're a kid. So it kind of crosses that line between comedy and horror really well, and it also kind of like, talks about death and, kind of it really delves into like the aspects of being dead. I don't know, it's interesting. So it's a crazy movie. The dinner table scene is obviously one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just really great. A great movie to watch. Not necessarily the best Halloween movie, but it is. I think it's one of those where, let's say you're not in like a pure horror mood and you want something lighter, you can put on some Beetlejuice. It's always going to be good. At number 9, we have the most wholesome and family-friendly Halloween movie. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and this is something that everyone watched when they were younger. I don't think people watch it today. Maybe parents will show it to their kid, but it's definitely not nearly as popular. When I was a kid, it was on TV every year, and I know that it was the same for my parents as well. So, it's one of those really classic kind of TV movies, and everybody loves Charlie Brown. So I can't say I remember it too well because I haven't seen it since I was probably like 10 years old or even younger. So, but again, great one to show the kids. If you're a parent and you're looking for a Halloween movie, you gotta watch this movie with the kids. It's just a really good one, and it's not scary. It's very lighthearted and fun, and just a classic. Alright. Number 8. The Exorcist. Now, The Exorcist was kind of the original, terrifying movie. It was, everyone knew it as, this is the scariest movie ever made. People are running out of the theaters. People are like getting sick because they can't handle watching it and all these things. And then, I think 20 years later, maybe even 10 years later, people kind of were like, it's really not that scary. And a lot of that is just because, when it came out, it's dated. The effects are not like, amazing now. There's no real, like, again, the jump scares are limited. It's more about, like, scary images and crazy scenes and the mood of it as well. It's a very depressing movie to watch. It's really about, like, the mother and how she's handling the comedy is so smart, and there's so many classic scenes in it. I mean, Igor, for instance, is the funniest character, and I just literally laughed because I thought of a specific scene when they're like at the dinner table, and Igor is telling Dr. Frankenstein, Frankenstein, a story about his dad, and I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but it makes me laugh every time I see it. And there's so many other, just great scenes. And it is, again, one of those that you can watch with your kids if you want, depending on how old they are. It's not that scary. It's funny. And it's humor that everyone can laugh at. It's not like adult humor, And Gene Wilder is just such a good actor, and he's so, intense. He has this, kind of crazy side to him that he shows in his movies. And, yeah. I think my favorite Mel Gibson movie is still Spaceballs, because Spaceballs is just hilarious. But this is a close second, and, again, very underrated movie. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to watch it. Okay. Number 6. Another favorite of mine, Nightmare Before Christmas. Another Tim Burton movie. Probably, I would say maybe one of his most well-known movies. Although, Beetlejuice is well-known. Edward Scissorhands as well. He also directed Batman, so if you're Tim Burton in the 90s, you're doing a lot of cool movies. I used to watch this every year when I was a kid. I used to just love it completely. I thought it was so cool, and it was literally like watching a dream for me. I loved the idea of, all these holidays having different lands that you could go to. It was just, really kind of invigorated my imagination as a kid. And the only thing about this movie is it is a kid's movie. I don't think it's a movie that adults, if you didn't grow up with it, I don't think adults will generally like this movie. It's also not, I don't know, it's got some funny moments, but I wouldn't say it's one of those, it's, a very funny kids movie. It's kind of a more on the serious end of a kids movie. It's not like, it is lighthearted, but it's, I think the movie's definitely just made for kids. But the visuals in this movie are just great. It's super dark and eerie, and the music is fantastic, and yeah. What a very classic movie, and another movie that I haven't seen in a while though. So, and the whole kind of claymation thing, or every single scene is just a bunch of frames. It's just really interesting and cool. Alright, number 5, we have Scream, which is another movie I've only seen once. I think I saw it a very, very long time ago as well. But it is kind of one of the earlier, most well-known kind of meta horror movies. And the great thing about this movie is it does walk the line between being a comedy but also being horror. It does both really well, and it kind of intertwines comedy with horror in a really great way. it's just a great combination, and like it was kind of the first of its kind. There were a lot that came after it, and it's funny that this movie basically inspired Scary Movie, and Scary Movie was a spoof, of a spoof, which is funny. Honestly, I should probably watch this movie again because I did love it when I saw it. So I think I'd probably enjoy it again if I were to watch it. And it was huge when it came out. It was a really big movie, so. Alright, moving on. Number 4 is Trick or Treat. And this is probably one of the lesser known movies on the list. It was a movie that I don't think got fantastic reviews or anything, but if you want a purely Halloween-like experience, if you want to watch a movie that just is filled with Halloween storytelling and imagery, you should just watch this movie. It's kind of in the spirit of Tales from the Crypt, where there are all these like little mini stories that are being told, and a lot of them are kind of out there and weird and ridiculous, and they're all kind of classic Halloween tropes. You have the scary neighbor who is I think he puts razor blades and candy, all these like Halloween cliches that are in the movie. And it's just really well done. It's a good one. Alright, now we have the final 3. And at number 3 we have Halloween, the 1978 movie, and actually toyed with the idea of putting this at number 1. And then I decided that it wasn't the best Halloween movie, even though it's called Halloween. But it is a really good movie. John Carpenter is a great director, and the story, this is kind of the first slasher movie. It invented slasher movies pretty much. Although, and actually I realized I didn't put Friday the 13th on the list. Spoiler alert, it's on 1 or 2. I think because Friday the 13th is a very good Halloween movie, but it is also called Friday the 13th, which to me means it's not a Halloween movie. So kind of, it's a good movie to watch on Halloween though. But I believe this came out before Friday the 13th. I think it must have. Yeah, it's really scary, and the great thing about Halloween is it is a slasher movie, but you go into the villain, you go into how he became this way, what his childhood was like, you go into all of that. It's a lot deeper, than a lot of other ones where, again, Nightmare on Elm Street is just Freddy. You don't know much about him. So, yeah, it's a really well-made horror movie. Again, it's just kind of one of the original that's another one that I would recommend. But The Shining is one of those movies that just fills you with pure dread the entire time, even from the beginning. The beginning of the movie, there's these shots of these like wide landscape shots, and it's very beautiful. And there's this really like creepy music playing on top of it, and it's one of those where you're watching the movie, you're like, okay, what I'm looking at is very beautiful, but I know that I'm in trouble, and I know that the rest of the movie is gonna be really scary. So it kind of like, it throws you off guard. You're not really sure what you're getting into in the beginning of the movie. And then it just kind of slowly builds up and goes to the end. And I think the ending is just so well done. And the typewriter scene for me is extremely scary. When his wife finds all the pages that he's been typing the same sentence over and over again. I just think that's so scary. And the axe scene, and when he's in the maze, and Danny kind of outsmarts his father. That part is really suspenseful. So. The Shining is just, again, a classic movie. Jack Nicholson does a fantastic job in that. You wouldn't think of him as being like a villain, but he does it really well. And that's The Shining. And now we have the next movie. The number one Halloween movie, and that is Hocus Pocus. For me, again, a kid who grew up in the 90s, this was just something that you watched every Halloween, and it was an event. It was on the Disney Channel every year, the 31 Days of Halloween. And I loved it. I still love this movie. It's fairly dated now. And it is one of those where the humor is very 90s. The humor does not hold up. A lot of puns and lame jokes and stuff like that, which you just wouldn't see in movies today. But for someone who grew up with the movie, that's what makes it great, because it just reminds you of the 90s and reminds you of that time. And I think it's just one that, again, if you're an adult, you're probably not going to love this movie. If you hadn't seen it before, you're probably going to think this movie is stupid. But if you're a kid who grew up with it, who watched it every year, this is something that you cherish. This movie represents Halloween to me, and I just really love it. So that is the top 20 Halloween movies list. And as I said, let me know what your favorite movie to watch in the Halloween season is. There are a lot of others as well that I didn't go over, but hopefully this list